Peace is loud when it breaks. You do not hear silence. You hear the echo of something that used to hold the world together. Welcome to the channel, Bedtime Chinese History Stories. Tonight, you walk into the 5 Dynasties and 10 Kingdoms period, a brief but chaotic era of turmoil, where crowns rise and fall faster than a breath, and no promise survives the night. You stand in the cold blue light before dawn. The sky is still heavy, like it has not decided whether to reveal the day. Around you, the land stretches wide, but it does not feel whole. It feels cut, divided, like a body that has forgotten how to heal. Your feet press into dry earth. The ground is cracked, not from drought alone, but from neglect. The roads are empty, yet not abandoned. You sense movement somewhere far away. Riders, messengers, soldiers, always moving, always watching. A broken watchtower leans beside you. Its wooden beams groan softly as the wind passes through. Once it stood tall, part of a network that guarded an empire. Now it is just a skeleton, stripped of purpose. You run your fingers along the splintered wood. It is rough, brittle, like something that has been left behind too long. The air smells faintly of smoke. Not fresh fire, old fire, the kind that lingers in fabric, in walls, in memory. Somewhere, something burned days ago. No one rebuilt it. You begin to walk. Each step feels uncertain. Not because the ground is uneven, but because nothing here feels stable. You pass fields that should be green. Instead, they are dull and thin, barely alive. A broken plow lies on its side, half buried in dirt. No one came back to pick it up. A distant sound reaches you. Metal striking metal. Not loud, not a battle, just the quiet preparation of one. Someone sharpening a blade. Someone expecting something. The light grows slowly. The horizon turns pale gold, but it brings no warmth. As the sun rises, it reveals more than it comforts. You see the outline of a village ahead. The houses stand close together, as if trying to protect each other. Roof tiles are missing. Walls are patched with whatever could be found. The gate is open, but it does not welcome. It simply no longer knows how to close. You step inside. No one greets you. A few figures move quickly, heads lowered, eyes avoiding yours. Their movements are careful, measured, not fearful in a sudden way, but in a practiced way, as if fear has become routine. A woman carries a basket, but it is nearly empty. She holds it tightly, like it still matters. A child watches you from behind a doorway, silent, unmoving. Even the dogs do not bark. They only observe. You hear whispers, names spoken under breath. Names of men you do not know yet, names that change often. Rulers, generals, masters of land that shifts like sand. No banners hang here. No symbol claims this place with certainty. That is the first thing you understand. There is no center anymore. You pass a well. The rope is frayed. The bucket creaks as someone pulls it up slowly. Water sloshes inside, precious and limited. The man drawing it does not look at you. He looks at the water as if it might disappear if he loses focus. The sun climbs higher. Light spreads across the village, revealing scars you could not see in the dim morning. Burn marks on walls, a collapsed roof that no one has cleared, a cartwheel broken and left in the middle of the path. You feel it now, clearly. This is not the aftermath of a single disaster. This is the result of many. Layered, repeated. Never fully healed before the next one arrives. A sudden gust of wind moves through the street, carrying dust and the faint sound of hooves again. Closer this time. People pause, just for a moment, then they continue, but faster. More urgent, you turn toward the sound. Beyond the village on the distant road, shapes begin to form. Riders, not many but enough. You cannot see their faces yet, only the way they move. Confident, controlled, like men who belong to no one but themselves. The sun is fully risen now, and with it, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. The world you are standing in is not waiting to be ruled. It is waiting to be taken. You take a slow breath. The air feels heavier now, as if the day itself carries weight. Somewhere beyond that road, beyond those riders, a new power is already forming. You do not know its name yet, but you can feel it coming. The riders do not slow down. Dust lifts behind them in a long, dry trail, drifting into the village like a warning that arrives before the sound. You feel it on your skin first. Fine, bitter grains brushing your face, settling into your breath. No one runs. That is what unsettles you most. The people already know what is coming. The man at the well lowers his eyes. The woman with the basket steps aside without looking up. The child disappears behind the wooden door. Silent, as if trained for this exact moment, you remain where you are. The riders enter. Their horses are lean, ribs faintly visible beneath stretched skin. These are not parade animals. They are built for distance as for endurance, for war that does not end. Leather armor creaks as they move. Metal plates catch the morning light. In sharp flashes you hear the rhythm of hooves against packed earth. Slow, controlled, not hurried. They are not afraid of this place. One rider turns his head slightly. His eyes pass over you without interest. You are not a threat, not valuable, not worth attention. That tells you everything. They are not here to conquer. They are here because they already believe this land belongs to them. A banner hangs loosely from one of the saddles. The fabric is worn, its color faded, its symbol unclear. It does not matter, it will not be the same for long. One of the riders speaks. His voice is calm, almost bored. He gives an order. You do not need to understand the words. The meaning is clear in the way the others move. Two dismount. One walks toward the center of the village, the other heads for the well. The man at the rope steps back immediately. No protest, no hesitation. He releases the bucket as if it burns his hands. Water is taken, not stolen. Taken. You watch the exchange. There is no anger in it, no drama, only a quiet agreement shaped by fear and repetition. This has happened before. It will happen again. You begin to understand the shape of power here. It is not a distant throne. It is not a fixed capital. It is whoever arrives with horses and blades, and leaves without being challenged. The rider at the center of the village looks around slowly. His gaze moves across the houses, the broken roofs, the narrow paths. He is measuring something, not beauty, not life, value. How much grain can be taken? How many men can be forced to follow? How long before this place gives nothing more? You feel the weight of that calculation. The wind shifts again. This time it carries another sound, faint, far, but real. More hooves. The rider hears it too. His head lifts slightly, not alarmed, just aware. For a brief moment, something changes in the air. Not panic, not yet, but tension, like a string pulled tight. The riders exchange glances. No words are needed. They know. They are not the only ones who claim this land. One of them laughs softly. It is not a joyful sound. It is the kind of laughter that comes from knowing the rules are simple. Whoever arrives stronger, stays. Whoever hesitates, disappears. The man at the well looks toward the distant road. His hands tremble slightly now. Not from the riders in front of him, but from the ones who might come next. You follow his gaze. On the horizon, another line of dust begins to rise. Two forces, two claims. One fragile village caught between them. The riders mount again, but they do not rush to leave. They reposition, slightly, carefully, like wolves adjusting before a fight they did not plan, but will not avoid. You feel your heartbeat slow, not from calm, but from clarity. This is how the world works now. There is no single ruler, no lasting peace, only overlapping shadows of power, each one temporary, each one ready to be replaced. The village does not belong to anyone. That is why everyone wants it. The second group grows clearer with each passing breath. You can now see the shape of their formation. Different armor, different movement, but the same purpose. You stand between two versions of authority that recognize no higher law. The sun continues to rise, indifferent. Light spills across the ground, touching both groups equally, as if it refuses to choose a side. And in that light, you see the truth settle fully into place. This is not chaos by accident. This is chaos as a system. The first rider tightens his grip on the reins. His expression does not change. He has done this before. He will do it again. And somewhere beyond this moment, beyond this village, beyond these two forces about to collide, others are already preparing their own claims. You inhale slowly. The air tastes like dust, metal, and something else. Something inevitable. The first shout has not yet been made, but it is coming. The shout cuts through the air before you see who speaks. It is sharp, commanding, and it belongs to no one you know. Yet it carries authority strong enough to freeze the moment in place. Both groups stop advancing. Dust continues to drift between them, hanging in the sunlight like a thin veil. You can taste it on your tongue. Dry, bitter final. One rider from the first group moves forward slightly, not enough to charge, just enough to claim space. His hand rests near his weapon, but he does not draw it yet. Across from him, a figure from the second group mirrors the motion. Two leaders, neither crowned, neither certain, both pretending they already own what stands between them. The village holds its breath. You hear nothing now except the slow shifting of horses and the quiet creak of leather. Even the wind seems to hesitate. Then the voices begin, low at first, controlled, measured, words exchanged like careful steps across thin ice. You cannot hear every word, but the tone tells you everything. This is not negotiation. This is calculation. Each man weighs the other. Numbers, strength, risk, reward. How many riders, how much distance behind them, how tired their horses look, how steady their hands remain. You notice how still their eyes are. These are not men hoping to avoid blood. These are men deciding if blood is worth the price. A long pause stretches. Then one of them smiles. It is small, almost polite, but it carries something colder than anger. He nods once. The signal is subtle. The result is not. Steel leaves its sheath. The sound is clean and immediate. A line drawn across the silence. No turning back now. The first clash is fast, too fast for thought. Horses surge forward. Hooves slam into the ground. Dust erupts, swallowing the space between them. You hear the impact before you see it. Metal striking metal. A sharp crack, a dull thud, a man falls. You do not know which side he belonged to. It does not matter. The fight spreads quickly. Not a grand battle, not lines and formations. Just tight bursts of violence, close and brutal. You step back without thinking. Your heel hits something hard. A broken piece of wood. The sound it makes feels too loud. You freeze. But no one notices. No one cares. All attention is locked in survival. A rider swings his blade. Another blocks, barely. Sparks flash in the sunlight. A horse screams, high and panicked as it rears and twists away. The smell changes. Dust is still there, but now it mixes with iron. Warm, thick, unmistakable. You feel it in your chest. This is not chaos anymore. This is decision made real. One of the leaders pushes forward, cutting through the space with sudden force. He moves with purpose, aiming not for many but for one. The other leader sees it. Their eyes meet across the movement, across the noise, across the blur of men and animals. For a brief second, everything narrows. Two choices, two futures, they collide. The impact is heavy, louder than the others. Their weapons strike with a force that sends a shudder through the air. You feel it in your bones. They circle once, twice, no wasted motion, no hesitation, then it ends. Not with a dramatic strike, not with a shout. Just a small mistake, a foot placed slightly wrong, a balance lost for a fraction of a breath. The blade finds its path. One leader remains standing, the other does not. The fight does not stop immediately. It flickers, breaks into smaller struggles, but the center has shifted. You see it in the way the remaining riders react. Some pull back, some drop their weapons, some try to flee. The outcome is already decided. Power does not need to announce itself. It simply continues. Within moments it is over. The dust begins to settle again, slowly revealing what has changed. Bodies lie where they fell. Horses move nervously, their breath heavy, their sides heaving. The ground is marked now, darker in places, uneven. The surviving riders gather, no celebration, no relief, just quiet adjustment. One of them retrieves the fallen banner. He looks at it briefly, then ties it to his saddle without care. It is not his symbol, but it will serve, you understand now. Victory here does not create order. It replaces one claim with another. The village remains the same. Only the names have changed. The man who now leads glances around once more. His eyes pass over the broken roofs, the frightened figures, the well. The same calculation returns. Value, use, time. He turns his horse. And just like that, a new rule begins. Behind him the bodies remain. In front of him, more land waits. You stand still, watching as they ride away, carrying their version of power to the next place that cannot resist. The village slowly exhales, but not in relief, in preparation. Because somewhere, beyond the line of the horizon, another group is already moving. And next time, the outcome may not be the same. The dust settles slowly, but it never truly disappears. It hangs in the air, thin and stubborn, as if it refuses to forget what just happened. You taste it each time you breathe. It clings to your tongue, to your throat, to your thoughts. No one speaks at first. The villagers begin to move again, but not toward the fallen. Not yet. They return to small necessary tasks. As if the violence was only a passing storm. A man lifts a broken basket. A woman gathers scattered grain from the dirt, one piece at a time. You notice how careful they are. No sudden movements, no loud voices. Even now, after the riders have gone, the fear remains. It lingers in the way shoulders stay tense, in the way eyes keep drifting toward the road. You step closer to where the bodies lie. The ground here is darker, damp. The smell is stronger now. Metal and earth mixed together, heavy and warm under the rising sun. One of the fallen men lies on his side, his hand still gripping the hilt of his weapon. His fingers are stiff, as if they refuse to let go even after everything ended. You crouch slightly, observing. His armor is worn, not poor, but not proud either. A man who has fought many times, but not for anything that lasts. Footsteps approach behind you. You turn slightly. An old man walks slowly toward the bodies. His back is bent, his steps uneven, but his eyes are steady. He carries no weapon, only a small cloth in his hands. He does not look at you. He kneels beside one of the fallen and gently covers the man's face. The motion is quiet, almost practiced. Not respectful in a grand way, but in a necessary one. This too has happened before. You watch as others begin to follow. Two men lift a body together. They do not speak. They do not ask which side he belonged to. It no longer matters. The distinction died with him. A woman brings a wooden board. Another drags it closer. They work together, without planning, without instruction. Survival has taught them this rhythm. You notice the absence of grief, not because they do not feel it, but because they cannot afford it. The sun climbs higher. The light grows sharper, exposing every detail. The stains on the ground, the torn fabric, the shallow grooves left by hooves and struggle. Nothing is hidden. A child appears again at the doorway. He steps out this time, slowly, cautiously. His eyes move from the bodies to the adults, trying to understand what is expected of him. No one tells him. He learns by watching. You feel something shift inside you. This is not just a place where power changes hands. This is a place where people have learned to live without expecting protection. You walk further into the village. Behind one of the houses, you notice a patch of freshly turned soil. Small mounds, uneven, marked only by stones. No names, no signs, you understand immediately. There is no time for memory here, only for continuation. A faint sound reaches you again. Not hooves this time, something softer. You follow it. Behind another wall, a woman kneels beside a small fire. A pot sits above it, thin steam rising into the air. She stirs slowly, her movements steady, controlled. Inside the pot there is very little. Yet she stirs as if it matters, as if the act itself holds something together. You realize then that this is how life survives here. Not through strength, but through repetition. Simple acts done again and again. Even when the world around them breaks, you return toward the center of the village. The well is in use again. The rope creaks as it moves, slower now, careful, measured. Water is drawn with more attention than before, as if each drop must be guarded. A man glances at the road, then another. The habit is constant. Watch, wait, prepare. You feel the weight of it settle around you. This place is not recovering. It is enduring. There is a difference. Recovery looks forward. Endurance only survives the present. The sun now stands higher, its warmth pressing down on your shoulders. The shadows shorten, the details sharpen. Everything is clearer, and somehow more fragile. You hear a quiet voice behind you. Not a command, not a warning, just a simple statement. They will come again. You do not turn, you do not need to. The truth of it is already in the air, in the ground, in every careful movement around you. This moment is not an end. It is a pause, a brief space between one claim and the next. You look once more at the road beyond the village. Empty now, but not for long. Somewhere out there, another group is already riding, and here the people will be ready, not to fight, but to endure again. The sun stands high now, pressing its weight onto everything. Heat settles over the village like a quiet command. Move slowly, speak softly, save your strength, you feel it on your skin. Warm at first, then heavy. The dust that once drifted now clings, sticking to sweat, turning the air thick and harder to breathe. Time stretches. No riders appear. That absence should feel like relief. It does not. It feels like waiting. You sit near the edge of the well, close enough to hear the rope slide against worn wood. The sound repeats again and again, a slow rhythm. Pull, pause, lift. A man lowers his voice as he speaks to another. They will not stay long. The other nods. They never do. You notice how they speak without naming anyone. No ruler, no leader, no fixed authority, because there is none that lasts. A shadow moves across the ground. You look up. A young man enters the village, walking fast but not running. His clothes are dusty from travel. His eyes move quickly, scanning everything. He carries no banner, no armor, only urgency. He stops near the center, catching his breath, then speaks in a low, controlled tone. Not loud enough to alarm, but clear enough to spread. They have fallen. No one asks who. They are gone. That is enough. The words move through the village like a quiet wind. No panic, no surprise, only adjustment. You watch as people shift their behavior. A door closes that was left open. A small sack of grain disappears from sight. A man who had been resting stands up and begins to tie his belongings together. The message is simple. Power has changed again. Not here, not directly, but somewhere close enough to matter. You stand and follow the young man as he moves toward the well. He drinks quickly, then wipes his mouth with the back of his hand. His breathing slows, but his eyes remain alert. Someone asks him, "Who now?" He shakes his head slightly. Another one. No name, because it does not matter yet. Names only matter when they last. You feel something tighten inside you. This is how dynasties are born here. Not with ceremony, not with certainty, but with absence. One power disappears. Another steps into the space. The young man speaks again. They took the northern road. A pause. They are moving fast. That changes things. You see it immediately. The village reacts, not in fear, but in calculation. If the new force is moving fast, it means they are strong. If they are strong, they will take more. If they take more, this place will be seen again. Soon, too soon. You walk past the small houses, noticing how quickly everything shifts. A woman who had been cooking now covers the pot. A man hides a tool beneath loose dirt. A child is pulled gently back inside. Nothing is left visible unless it must be. This is not panic. This is preparation shaped by experience. You stop near the patch of earth behind the houses. The fresh mounds remain untouched. No new ones added, not yet, but the space is ready. You understand what that means. The village does not expect peace. It expects continuation. You hear footsteps behind you. The old man from before stands beside you now. His gaze rests on the distant road, not on the ground. They rise quickly, he says. You wait and fall faster. His voice is calm, not bitter, not hopeful, just certain. You look back toward the center of the village. The young man is already leaving. He does not stay to rest. He carries the message forward to the next place that still needs to know. Because information is the only thing that travels faster than armies, and sometimes it is the only thing that gives people time. You feel the heat deepen as the sun climbs further. The air shimmers slightly above the ground. The world looks almost unstable, as if it might shift again at any moment. You realize something now. This is not just a series of battles. This is a cycle, a rhythm. Rise, move, take, fall, and in between, people survive. Barely. You walk back toward the well. The rope continues its slow movement. Pull, pause, lift. Water rises again. Clear and silent. For a brief moment, everything feels still, but you know better now. Stillness. Here is not peace. It is only the space between one name and the next. You look once more toward the road. Empty. bright under the harsh light, waiting, and somewhere beyond that brightness, another banner is already being raised, another claim is already forming, another ruler is already calling himself king. You do not know his name, but you know how long it will last. Not long enough. The light begins to soften, almost without warning. What was once harsh and heavy now turns warmer, stretching shadows across the ground. The heat loosens its grip, but the tension does not leave with it. You notice the change in the air. First it moves again. A faint breeze slips through the narrow paths between the houses, carrying with it a different scent. Not smoke this time, not metal. Cooked grain, thin, simple but real. You follow it. The woman by the small fire lifts the lid of her pot. Steam rises, gentle and quiet, curling into the cooling air. The smell is faint, but it spreads quickly, touching every corner of the village. People begin to gather. Not in a group, not openly, just closer. You see it in the way they move. Slight shifts, small steps that bring them within reach of warmth, of food, of something that feels almost steady. A wooden bowl is passed from hand to hand. No one takes too much. No one speaks about it. You watch as the child receives a portion. He holds it carefully, both hands steady, as if the weight of it matters more than the amount. He eats slowly, every movement controlled. You feel something quiet settle into the space, not safety, but a brief permission to continue. The old man sits near the fire now. His eyes reflect the small flame, steady and calm. He does not rush. He does not look toward the road. For this moment he allows himself stillness. You sit nearby. The ground beneath you is warm from the day, but cooling. The dust feels softer now, less sharp against your skin. You hear low voices. Not whispers of fear this time, just fragments of memory. Someone mentions a place farther south, a river, markets that still open, food that is not counted grain by grain. You notice the way people listen, carefully, not because they believe it fully, but because they need to imagine something beyond this. The young man who brought the message is gone, but his words remain. They settle into every quiet moment. They are moving fast. You understand what that means now, more clearly than before. The north burns quickly, but somewhere else, something slower exists. You close your eyes for a brief moment. The breeze touches your face. You hear the soft crackle of fire, the faint clink of a wooden bowl, the quiet breathing of people who have survived another part of the day. For a moment, it almost feels like a world that could last. Then a sound breaks it. Not loud, but sharp enough. A hammer striking wood. You open your eyes. Across the village, a man works beside one of the damaged houses. He lifts a beam, sets it into place, and secures it with careful strikes. Each hit is measured, not rushed, not hopeful, just necessary. Another joins him. Then another. They do not rebuild everything. Only what must stand before night. You realize something important. Even here, even now, people choose what to save. Not everything. Just enough. The fire burns lower. The food is gone. The bowls are set aside. The small gathering dissolves without signal. Each person returns to their place, to their space, to their quiet preparation. The shadows grow longer. The road beyond the village darkens slightly as the sun begins its slow descent. You stand and walk toward the edge once more. The ground feels cooler beneath your feet. The air carries a deeper stillness now. But it is not empty. It is listening. You look out. Nothing moves. No dust, no riders, only distance. And yet you feel it again. That quiet certainty. They are out there, always out there. You turn back toward the village. Small lights begin to appear. Faint flames inside homes, controlled, hidden. Enough to see, but not enough to be seen from far away. Even light must be careful. Here you pass the well again. The rope hangs still. For now, water has been drawn, enough for the night. Nothing more. You hear the old man's voice once again, softer. Now night is when they think. You pause, and morning is when they act. His words settle slowly. You understand them without needing more. Day shows power. Night prepares it. You lift your gaze to the darkening sky. The color shifts gently, from gold to deepening blue. The first hint of night arrives, and with it a new kind of waiting. Not for movement, but for decision. Somewhere beyond what you can see, men sit with maps, with plans, with quiet ambition. They are not riding yet. But they will. Soon you feel the air cool further. The village grows quieter. But the silence now feels different, heavier, full of thought. And somewhere in that silence, the next change is already taking shape. The last light slips away slowly, as if the day itself is reluctant to leave. Shadows stretch and merge until they become one. The shapes of houses soften, then fade. Only the small flames remain, flickering behind thin walls, guarded carefully from the outside world. You feel the temperature drop. The warmth of the ground disappears beneath you. The air turns cooler, sharper. It carries sound more clearly now, and in that clarity, you begin to notice something new. Movement, not on the main road. Closer, quieter. You stand still, letting your eyes adjust to the dark. At first, it is nothing more than shifting shadows between the houses. Then you see it clearly. A figure, moving slowly along the narrow path, keeping close to the walls, avoiding the open spaces. You do not recognize him, but you understand him immediately. This is not a rider. This is someone who survives between powers. He pauses near a doorway, taps lightly, then steps back. The door opens just enough for a whisper to pass through. No light escapes, no name is spoken. The door closes again, the figure moves on. You follow at a distance, careful not to disturb the silence. He stops at another house, another quiet exchange, each one brief, controlled, intentional. This is not random movement. This is a message being carried. But not like the young man before. This is different, hidden, selective. You feel the weight of it. During the day, power is loud. At night, it becomes precise. The figure reaches the edge of the village, near the broken watchtower you saw at dawn. He pauses there, looking out into the darkness beyond. For a moment, he does not move. Then another shape emerges from the shadows outside. Two figures, now neither one raises their voice. They stand close, speaking in low tones that barely reach you. You catch fragments, not strong enough yet. Waiting. When they move south, the words are incomplete, but the meaning is clear. Someone is watching the movements of these shifting powers. Not to survive, to use them. The second figure hands something over, a small object, wrapped carefully. The first figure takes it without hesitation. No thanks, no delay. The exchange is clean. Practiced. You feel something colder settle into your chest. This is not chaos without thought. This is chaos that creates opportunity. The figures separate. One disappears back into the darkness beyond the village. The other returns the way he came, slipping again between walls, between shadows, between moments. You remain where you are, listening. The village itself stays quiet, but now that quiet feels different. It is not only fear. It is secrecy. You begin to notice more. A window that closes too quickly. A faint light that is suddenly covered. A movement that stops the moment it is seen. Not everyone here is only enduring. Some are choosing who to support, choosing when to act, choosing when to betray. You walk slowly back toward the center. The well stands still, dark now, reflecting nothing. Beside it, two men sit close together. They do not speak at first. Then one leans in slightly. You heard? The other nods. They will change again. A pause. Soon. No surprise. No resistance. Just acceptance. And something else. Calculation. You realize now that power does not only come from riders and blades. It also comes from information. From timing. From knowing when one force is about to fall and another is about to rise. The old man sits near the fading fire. He looks at you briefly this time. Not long. Just enough. They smile in the dark, he says quietly. You wait because no one sees the knife. His words settle heavily. You think back to the two figures at the edge of the village, the exchange, the whispers, the unseen decisions. This is how rulers are made before they appear. Not on the battlefield, but in moments like this. Invisible, uncertain, dangerous. The fire dies completely. Darkness deepens. The village fades into shapes and sounds. Breathing, footsteps, the soft shift of wood. Nothing more. You sit in that darkness, feeling the weight of everything that moves beyond sight. Somewhere out there, men are not only preparing to ride, they are preparing to betray. Alliances are being formed without trust. Promises are being made without intention, and when morning comes, those promises will already be broken. You look toward the edge of the village again. Nothing is there now. No figures, no movement, only darkness. But you know what you saw, and more importantly, you know what it means. The next battle will not begin with a shout. It will begin with a decision made in silence, and by the time it is seen, it will already be too late. The night deepens until even the shapes disappear. You sit in darkness that feels complete, heavy, almost solid. The village no longer looks like a place. It feels like a collection of breaths, scattered and quiet, each one careful, not to be heard too far away. The sky above you is clear. Stars appear, sharp and distant, untouched by what happens below. They do not flicker with fear. They do not shift with power. They remain. You listen at first. There is nothing but the slow rhythm of people resting. A faint movement of cloth, the soft creak of wood adjusting to the cooling air. Then, beneath it all, another sound begins to rise, low, faint, steady. You hold your breath. It comes from far beyond the village, not close enough to see, not loud enough to alarm, but close enough to matter. Hooves, not many, but moving with purpose. You feel your chest tighten slightly, not from fear, but from recognition. This is how it begins again. Not with a charge, not with a warning, just movement in the dark. You stand slowly, careful not to disturb the ground beneath you. The dust feels cooler now, almost damp with night air. No one else moves, or if they do it quietly enough to remain unseen. You walk toward the edge of the village, where the broken watchtower leans into the darkness. The horizon is no longer visible, only a line where black meets deeper black. You focus. The sound grows clearer, measured, controlled. These riders are not rushing. They are certain. You remember the whispers, waiting, when they move south. This is not random. This is timing. You crouch slightly, letting your body blend with the shadow of the tower. The first shape appears, a darker shadow against the night. Then another. They do not carry torches. They do not speak. They move as if they already know the path, as if they have studied this place long before arriving. You feel something colder settle in your stomach. These are not raiders passing through. These are men arriving with intention. They stop just beyond the village. You count them. Not many, but enough. Enough to take control. Enough to make a statement. One of them raises a hand. The others halt instantly. No sound, no confusion. Discipline. You watch as they wait, not entering, not yet. You realize why they are listening. Just like you, testing the silence, measuring the response. They know that a careless step can reveal more than a loud attack. Minutes pass, long enough for doubt to form. But they do not move. Patience. That is what makes them dangerous. Finally, the hand lowers. They begin to enter, slowly, spreading out, not toward the center, toward the edges. Toward the paths between houses. You feel the shift immediately. This is not a single strike. This is control from within. You move back slightly, keeping distance. One rider passes near you, close enough that you hear the soft exhale of his breath. He does not see you, or if he does not react. You are not the target. You never were. Their focus is elsewhere. You hear a door open quietly, then another. No force, no shouting, just presence. A quiet taking, a quiet claiming. You feel the pattern unfold around you. The whispers from earlier, the hidden exchanges, the waiting. All of it leads to this moment. This is not chaos. This is planned, carefully, coldly. A man steps out from one of the houses he does not resist. He bows his head slightly, not in respect, in recognition. He knew this was coming. You see it in his eyes. This is the side he chose, or the side that chose him. The rider in front of him says something low. The man nods. Agreement, already made. Already decided long before tonight. You feel a quiet realization settle in. The battle you expected does not happen. Because it was already won, not with blades, but with whispers, with timing, with betrayal. You stand in the middle of it, unseen, as power changes again without a single clash. The village does not wake, or if it does so silently, accepting, adjusting, enduring. The riders continue their slow movement, taking positions, securing control, replacing what was here before. No banner is raised, no name is spoken, but authority has shifted. Again, you look toward the road, still empty, no dust, no warning, just darkness. And you understand now, more clearly than ever. War does not always arrive with noise. Sometimes, it arrives already decided. And by the time the sun rises, it will look like it was always this way. The night holds its breath, but something within it begins to loosen. You feel it first in the stillness. Not a break, not a change, just a slight easing, like a hand that has been clenched for too long, finally beginning to relax. The riders have taken their places. The village has accepted it, and now something unexpected happens. Nothing. No orders shouted. No doors forced open. No sudden cries. Only quiet control. You move slowly along the narrow path. Your steps careful, your breath shallow. The figures you saw earlier are no longer searching. They are settled, watching, waiting. You pass by one of the houses. Inside, a faint light flickers again. Not hidden now, not fully revealed either. Aloud, you pause near the doorway. A soft sound reaches you. Not speech, not fear. A voice low. Measured singing. You do not expect it. The melody is simple, slow. Each note carried carefully, as if it must not travel too far, yet must not be lost. You listen. The words are quiet, but clear enough. They speak of seasons, of rivers that continue to flow even when the land around them changes, of names that fade and names that are forgotten. The voice does not tremble. It does not rush. It endures. You feel something shift inside you again. Even here, in this place shaped by constant change, something remains, not power, not control, something else. You step closer, just enough to see. Inside, a small group sits together. The old man is there, the child, the woman who stirred the pot earlier. They do not look at the riders outside. They do not speak of them. For this moment, they exist in a different space, a quieter one. The song continues, soft, steady. You notice how the child watches the singer, not with fear, but with focus, learning, remembering. You understand now, this is how something survives beyond power. Not through force, but through memory, through repetition, through quiet acts that no rider can take. You step back slowly. The sound follows you for a moment, then fades as you move further away. You return toward the center of the village. The well remains still, the rope unmoving. Beside it, one of the riders stands. He is not guarding. He is simply present. His eyes scan the space, but not with urgency. With certainty, he knows. This place is already his, or at least his, for now. You study him. His armor is different from the others you saw earlier in the day. More uniform, less worn, not untouched, but maintained. This is not a man fighting for survival. This is a man part of something more organized. You feel the difference immediately. The earlier riders came and took. These ones have come to hold. That is more dangerous. You hear footsteps behind you. The old man again. He moves slowly, but without hesitation. He stands beside you, looking at the same rider. They stay longer, he says quietly. You wait, they think further. His words carry weight. You look around. The village is not resisting. Not because it cannot, but because it understands. This is not a passing storm. This is something that will shape what comes next. You feel the depth of that realization settle in. The cycles are changing, not ending but changing. Some powers rise and fall quickly. Others begin to stretch their reach, to hold, to plan. You glance once more toward the house where the song came from. Silence now, but not empty, full. You understand that even as rulers change, even as banners rise and fall, something deeper continues. Quietly, patiently, waiting. You lift your eyes to the sky. The stars remain, unmoved, unchanged. Below them, everything shifts again and again, but not everything disappears. Some things endure long enough to be carried into the next world. You lower your gaze. The rider near the well turns slightly. His presence fills the space, even without action. Control without movement, power without noise. This is different. This is what comes after chaos begins to learn from itself. You feel it clearly now. The next phase is not just about taking, it is about keeping. And that changes everything. You take a slow breath. The night is not over yet. But something within it has already begun to move toward morning, and when the light returns, it will not reveal the same world you saw before. It will reveal one that is beginning to choose which chaos will last, and which will be forgotten. The sky begins to change again, almost too slowly to notice. Black softens into deep blue. The stars fade, one by one, not because they fall, but because something brighter is returning. You feel the shift before you see it. Morning is coming. The air holds a quiet tension, different from the night. Not secrecy, not planning, expectation. You stand near the well, where the rider still remains. He has not moved much. His presence has been steady, like a weight placed carefully and left to settle. But now, something changes. He straightens slightly, not alarmed, prepared. You follow his gaze toward the road. At first, there is nothing. Then, faintly, the ground begins to speak. A distant tremor, soft but steady. More than before, you feel it through your feet before you hear it clearly. Hooves, many this time, not a small group, not quiet, not hidden. This is movement meant to be seen. The village feels it too. Doors open slightly. Eyes appear in shadows. No one steps out. No one calls out. They have learned this moment well. You look at the rider beside you. He does not reach for his weapon. He does not move to gather others. He simply watches. That tells you everything. This is not a surprise. This is expected. The line of the horizon begins to glow faintly, and within that growing light, shapes begin to form. A column. Long ordered. Banners rise above them, visible even before the men beneath them become clear. You feel the difference immediately. This is not a group claiming space. This is a force declaring it. The sound grows louder, rhythmic, heavy, certain. You see rows now. Not scattered riders, lines, structured, disciplined. The kind of movement that does not question itself. The kind that believes it will last. You glance back at the village. No one runs. No one hides further. Because there is nowhere left to hide. This is not a passing claim. This is something larger. You turn again to the rider near you. He exhales slowly. Not fear. Recognition. He steps forward. Just one pace. Enough to be seen. Enough to acknowledge what is coming. The approaching force slows as it nears the village. Not stopping. Just adjusting. Like a tide meeting land, a figure at the front raises a hand. The entire column responds instantly. The movement becomes controlled, measured. You feel the ground steady beneath the rhythm. This is not chaos. This is command. The first ranks enter the village. They do not spread out. They do not search. They move directly, as if they already know where to stand, where to look, where to place themselves. You notice the difference in their armor. Uniform maintained, consistent. This is not a collection of fighters. This is an army. You hear voices now, clear, ordered, not whispered, not hidden. Instructions are given, positions assigned. The riders from the night do not resist. They do not flee. They step back, not defeated. Absorbed, you understand the moment as it unfolds. This is not a battle. This is consolidation. Power gathering itself. One force replacing another. Not through chaos, but through structure. You feel something shift deeply within the air around you. The randomness begins to narrow. The cycles begin to align. You look at the old man. He stands near the edge of the path, watching with calm eyes. They have come to stay, he says. Not a question. A statement. You look back at the column. More continue to enter. More than needed for this place alone. This is not about the village. This is about control beyond it. You hear the sound of a banner being fixed into the ground. Firm, deliberate, visible. A claim, not just of presence, but of intention. The rider beside you lowers his gaze slightly. Not in defeat, in acceptance. His role here has ended or changed. You realize now what you are witnessing. Not the end of chaos, but its transformation. The wild, shifting power of before begins to take shape, to organize, to extend, to hold. The village feels it, not relief. Not yet, but something different. A weight that does not move quickly. A presence that does not vanish overnight. You take a slow breath. The air feels clearer, not lighter, but more defined. You look toward the road once more. More figures still approach. Endless, structured, certain, and for the first time you understand something new. This cycle is not just about who rises next. It is about who learns how to remain. The sun breaks over the horizon. Light spreads across the village, across the riders, across the banner, now standing firm in the ground, and in that light the world does not feel calm, but it does feel different, as if the chaos itself is beginning to choose a direction. And once it does, it will not turn back easily. The light grows stronger, but it does not feel new. It feels like something that has returned after watching everything unfold. You stand where you are, near the well, as the village reshapes itself once again, not in panic, not in resistance, in quiet acceptance. The soldiers move with purpose, but without chaos. Their steps are steady, their voices controlled. Orders pass from one to another, clear and direct, like a pattern that has been practiced many times before. You notice how quickly space is defined. Paths are cleared, positions are taken. The center of the village is no longer open. It belongs to them now. You feel the difference immediately. Before, power passed through, now it settles. The banner that was placed into the ground does not move with the wind. It holds firm, its fabric heavy, its presence deliberate. You walk slowly along the edge of the village, observing. The people adjust. They do not resist. They do not welcome. They shift. A woman steps aside to let a soldier pass. A man lowers his gaze and continues his work, as if the new order has always been here. The child watches again, standing near the doorway. But this time, his eyes do not follow movement with fear. They follow structure, routine, something he can begin to understand. You feel a quiet realization settle within you. This is how chaos ends, not in a single moment, not in a final battle, but in a gradual tightening, a shaping, a force that learns how to remain longer than the others. You move toward the broken watchtower, the place where you first stood before dawn. It still leans, still worn, still holding on to what it used to be. But now it watches something different. Not scattered riders, not sudden violence, but a growing system. You turn back toward the village. The soldiers are not rushing. They are organizing, measuring, placing themselves not just for today, but for what comes next. You understand now. This is not just about this place. This is about everything beyond it. The roads, the fields, the cities you cannot see. All of it begins to fall into patterns like this. Slowly, quietly, you see the old man again. He stands near the well, his gaze steady as always. He does not look surprised. He does not look relieved. He simply watches. They last longer, he says. You wait, but not forever. His voice is soft but certain. You nod slightly, because you understand. Even this, even now, is not the end. It is only the beginning of something that will one day be replaced again. But for now, it holds. And that changes everything. You take a slow breath. The air feels different in your lungs. Less sharp, less uncertain, but still heavy with memory. You think of the riders who came before, the battles, the whispers, the quiet betrayals in the night. All of it led here, not to peace, but to something that can shape itself into order. You walk once more through the village. The small fire from before is gone. The pot is empty, but the place where it stood is still warm. You remember the song, the quiet voice that carried something deeper than power, that remains. Even now, you look up at the sky. The sun has fully risen. The light is clear, steady, unwavering. It reveals everything. Nothing is hidden. And in that light, you see the truth of it all. Empires do not fall in a single moment. They fracture, they scatter, they fight. And from that chaos, something new learns how to rise. Not because it is better, but because it understands how to last just a little longer. You stand still, letting the moment settle around you. The village breathes, the soldiers move, the banner holds. And somewhere beyond this place, the same process is unfolding, again and again, shaping a world that will one day be remembered as something unified. But you know what it cost. You have seen it, felt it, lived it. You take one last look at the road. Bright now, clear, silent for the moment. Then you turn back. Because this place no longer waits. It belongs to something for now. And that is enough. Thank you for walking through this moment in history. If you found yourself drawn into this world, Take a quiet moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel Bedtime Chinese History Stories. There are many more nights, many more stories, and many more truths waiting to be uncovered.